Mr. Co-Chair and Excellencies, first of all, I would like to clarify that this is not a fight against India versus Africa. You must know that this is not India which has made this issue a contentious one. The disagreement is between African countries. India had agreed to this text. Today, the agreement arose from African countries. So don't blame India for that. I'm sad to hear your speech. The whole connotation of your speech was as if India is against this. No, India is not against this. And why should we send the text to the heads? Why can't we agree to this? Let us agree that this sentence will remain. I have no objection. My country has no objection. My Prime Minister has no objection. The objection came from the African countries. And now you heard 3 or 4 African states who says that you remove this sentence. This is not my proposal. That's why I gave 2 alternatives. One, should we remove this? And that too with a rider that without having saying anything on the opinion of any country. Should we remove this? Or, again I said that let us break for coffee for 20 minutes and bring the agreed language. If this is the agreed language, India has no problem at all. We can have this text as such. So please don't blame India for that. India's fight against colonialism is well established. We fought for independence of India, we fought for independence of African states. So don't blame us. I have not raised the issue at all. The issue has been raised by African states. And they could not resolve the issue. We tried that in an informal group, the issue should be resolved. It could not be resolved. That's why I gave the proposal, should we break? Let us have this formal discussion here. And if the sense of the House is that let us keep this sentence as it is, I am ready for that. Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a clarification. I totally agree with the position that you are taking. If by any chance it appeared as if I was blaming India for anything, I'm sorry. Because I thought the whole input of my statement was to say both India and Africa have fought against colonialism. And that it would be unfortunate for a forum of Africa and India to then decide that such a sentence cannot be there. I wasn't implying or suggesting that India was in fact the objecting party because you have never objected. Yes, it is true that the objections are coming from African countries. You are quite correct. But yes, if we can agree to retain this sentence, I would agree. But to remove it, Madam Chair, would be doing an injustice to our heads of state because this is such a fundamental principle. As you have indicated, that the India's record, I have stated it, is absolutely admirable. I said it. So, please, I never meant to imply that India was in any way involved. I only refer to the forum of Africa and India. That is all. So, Madam Chair, I just wanted to make that clarification and that explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Co-Chair. I think we are responsible foreign ministers and we can resolve the issue here. The only thing I said that this is not desirable, that we should send the documents to our heads of states and heads of governments with brackets. Let us resolve it here. There are 4 more slips with me. I give the floor to Gaben.
Thank you, Minister. I would like to say, first of all, that I'm a little bit appalled by the spectacle that we are showing in front of you, in front of India. I heard people speak about principles. I don't know if there is any country here, sitting here, who doesn't have principles. I think we all have principles here. But I also think that we have certain reasons to understand that the current summit is mostly oriented towards building up, enhancing the partnership between India and Africa. When I see the title here, I think it is written Reinvigorated Partnership, Shared Vision. We are underdeveloped countries. We want to develop our countries. We want to bring a value addition to the economies of our countries. And I think all over Africa today, everybody is speaking of emerging economy, and giving some objectives. And if India can help us reach those objectives, then I think it would be beneficial for everyone. The question which is being raised here might be a question of principle, I agree. But I am just doubtful whether this is the right platform to speak about the colonialism in Africa. I was thinking that we were here to speak about economy, the partnership, building up the exchanges between India and Africa. And I have just one question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was just having a look at the declarations of the past two summits, that is 2008, 2011, and I didn't see any mention of this kind of sentence. Why? That is the question that I'm raising. So just to cut a long story short, I just would like to say clearly that Gabon supports the proposal put forward by Senegal. This issue is to be discussed in other platforms, in other fora, so we would like this bit of sentence to be withdrawn from the declaration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gabon. Now I give the floor to Togo.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je pense que, comme vous êtes en train de le constater, nous sommes venus pour une réunion de partenariat entre l'Afrique et l'Inde. Malheureusement, nous sommes en train d'assister, ou vous assistez plutôt, du côté indien, aux divisions au sein du continent africain. Mais je pense que c'est de votre intérêt également de contribuer à ce que nous puissions aller vraiment, nous restons dans l'esprit de ce partenariat. Nous ne sommes pas ici pour poser des principes politiques ou pour faire des traités politiques. Nous sommes ici dans un partenariat et nous pensons qu'il faut vraiment rester dans l'esprit de ce partenariat. Je prends le projet de texte soumis à notre appréciation. Au paragraphe 3, que je ne fais que lire, nous disons ici que faisant état des synergies de leurs priorités centrales communes de travailler ensemble pour atteindre une croissance économique inclusive afin d'éliminer la pauvreté et d'allouer des ressources suffisantes. Nous voulons sortir nos populations de la pauvreté et nous pensons du côté africain qu'il est important de travailler avec vous parce que vous avez une expérience en ce domaine, c'est pourquoi il y a ce partenariat. Voilà qu'au lieu de parler des questions essentielles qui touchent à ce partenariat, à l'économie, à l'intégration de nos populations, nous sommes en train d'aller vers un chemin politique qui, bien qu'il sous-entend des définitions économiques, nous sommes en train de nous tirailler et nous, si vous me permettez l'expression, nous voulons même nous battre pour ça. Donc je crois que notre intérêt est de travailler ensemble et d'avoir un consensus. Si un texte, du moins un élément où le paragraphe 7 pose problème et qu'il faut enlever ce paragraphe, il faut l'enlever. Et je suis d'accord avec mon collègue du Sénégal, du Gabon, qui vient de parler tout à l'heure, de la Guinée, etc. Si par contre vous pensez qu'il faut prendre un temps, c'est-à-dire si vous accordez 10 ou 20 minutes, c'est un consensus, pour que les ministres des Affaires étrangères puissent, ceux que vous allez désigner ou ceux qui ont travaillé sur le texte, puissent encore se retrouver pour trouver un consensus sur le paragraphe 7, nous sommes d'accord. Mais laisser ce texte en l'état, le présenter à nos chefs d'État et de gouvernement, tout en sachant que ce texte est en train de nous diviser, nous pensons que ce n'est pas de notre intérêt et nous souhaitons purement et simplement ou il est retiré ou alors on trouve un consensus pour une nouvelle formulation. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Togo. Now I'm giving the floor to Algeria.
Good afternoon, Excellency. Madam the Minister, I would like to renew my thanks to the people and government of India for their generosity and the hospitality accorded to my delegation. Excellency, we are in the biggest democracy in the world. We are 54 countries. Only 4 or 5 countries are with the position to remove what? To remove one sentence of 12 words. Do you think that the 2 billion people between Africans and Indians does not deserve 12 words? In so many documents our peoples we used to give them. Fighting colonialism, why? Because both in India and Africa, our lands, our resources are so big that without colonialism we should have been in much better social and economic position that we are suffering from now. Excellency, I am here only 7 months. I live in an area called Vasant Kunj, and every evening I get back to my house and I have seen 2 kinds of dogs. Some dogs in the street, weak, sick, dirty, but they are free. And some dogs, very well nurtured, very well maintained, in the best condition you can imagine, but they have a chain in their neck. Africa doesn't want any more chain, and no country here is in position to say that we are free from colonialism, because colonialism, if you don't close door to it, it will become. They have technology, they have drone, they have whatever they want, and the countries who are now calling for removing, they are not conscious about the future of their children. My father died against colonialism. I don't want to die. My son will die against colonialism. Please, let's close the door to colonialism, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Algeria. Now I give the floor to South Africa.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I just want to agree completely with my elders, the Minister, Honorable Minister and Deputy Prime Minister of Namibia and the Zimbabwean Foreign Minister, that after such very eloquent presentation, I think there's very little that can be done. As South Africa, Madam Chair, I just need to have it on record that there is no way, absolutely no way, that South Africa can ever be indifferent to colonialism, because South Africa is the beneficiary of anti-colonial struggle. There is no way that South Africa can ever think that fight against colonialism does not add value. And there is no way that South Africa can ever think that development does not speak to colonialism, because both of those, colonialism and development, they speak to one another, because you can never have development if you have colonialism. So I am of the view that if this meeting cannot reach a consensus, I would agree with the minister from Zimbabwe that we go with a bracket, whether it's neat or not neat. To me, that's neither here nor there. The neatness or not the neatness is neither here nor there. What is important is, this is a fundamental principle we're talking about. It's a principle that was set, that the heads of state, our principals had agreed upon. Let them decide then whether they don't want ever to hear us talking about colonialism. And what I don't understand, when people say this is not the forum, not the platform to talk about it, which one is the forum and the platform to talk about colonialism? Everywhere, anti-colonialism defines who we are. Everywhere we go, we define ourselves as people who fought against colonialism, who can stand proud to the world because they won against colonialism. For anyone to say that this does not add value, to us it does not make sense. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, South Africa. I give the floor to Comoros.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Voilà. Merci Madame la Présidente. Nous estimons qu'à ce stade du débat, la question devient de plus en plus difficile et peut-être de plus en plus enflammée, que ce que l'on peut dire et prier, c'est que nous puissions nous mettre d'accord sur nos désaccords et essayer de trouver une porte de sortie. Apparemment, il n'y aura pas de consensus. Laisser les crochets et aller vers la réunion des chefs d'État est une impasse, parce qu'on reporte ce débat dans la conférence de chefs d'État et ça ne serait pas trop sage. Rester là jusqu'au matin, on n'aura pas de réponse, puisque de toute façon, chacun campera sur ses positions. Alors, quelle sagesse? Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Personne ici ne peut accuser l'autre de soutenir la colonisation. Personne. Tout le monde en a souffert. L'Afrique n'a dominé personne, l'Inde non plus. Nous avons été victimes de la colonisation. Ce qu'il y a là, il y a des principes. Nous pouvons en parler parce que nous avons une moitié de notre territoire qui est sous colonisation actuellement. Mais cela ne voudrait pas dire que l'on va bloquer le débat et puis finalement mettre nos amis indiens en difficulté. Alors, est-ce qu'il faut échouer ce sommet sur la base de cette phrase sur le colonialisme et prendre la responsabilité d'avoir réuni tout le monde ici et d'être parti en laissant tomber tout le travail admirable et le leadership admirable qui a été fait, ou bien nous prenons sur nous que nous sommes tous contre le colonialisme et nous voulons sauver notre partenariat avec l'Inde et faire un sursaut de sagesse et reconnaître que nous condamnons la colonisation, mais que ce bout de phrase qui nous divise ne peut pas être dans le document. Je pense, nous pensons, l'Union des Comores pense, qu'à ce stade-là, nous devons nous en sortir. Chaque pays reconnaît les dangers, les méfaits de la colonisation, mais nous avons un partenariat à un document à fabriquer, à contenir et à densifier. Nous avons le choix. On sortira d'ici ce soir, l'on partira, on filera, passez-moi l'expression, le bébé aux chefs d'État qui ne sauront plus quoi en faire parce que nous avons la responsabilité de tamiser, la responsabilité de choisir, et choisir, c'est un peu mourir un peu, comme on dit. Alors, je pense qu'il faut essayer de mettre de côté cette membre de phrase, tout en sachant qu'on se fait violence. Nous nous ferons violence si nous enlevons ce membre de phrase. Parce que nous croyons que le colonialisme, c'est un moment qui a fragilisé, qui a détruit et qui a désespéré. Mais nous nous faisons violence parce que nous sommes obligés de ne pas le mettre dans le texte pour sauver ce qui peut l'être. Sortir par le haut, ne pas mettre nos amis indiens en difficulté et puis réussir notre sommet. Si nous persistons dans l'idéologie, Si nous persistons à dire et à développer les principes et les philosophies sur la colonisation et les méfaits, on fera de la théorie, on mangera de l'idéologie, mais peut-être qu'on mettra de côté le partenariat et le beau consensus que nous avons eu jusqu'à maintenant. Nous appelons, l'Union des Comores appelle, et c'est de raison, les uns et les autres à plus de consensus et à plus de sursaut, pour que nous ne retournions pas dans l'histoire à un retour vers le passé, ressusciter des moments qui ont été douloureux pour nous tous, ne pas oublier, mais regarder vers l'avant et sauver notre partenaire avec l'Inde. Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Thank you, Comoros. Now I'm giving the floor to Nigeria.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Nigeria has listened carefully to the interventions made by different delegations here this evening. We're a bit taken aback by the reaction from Africa on colonialism, because Africa has had the worst experience in colonialism. And Nigeria has spent its 55 years of independence fighting colonialism wherever it has been found. The paragraph that is in contention doesn't mention any country by name. It's a statement of principle that India and Africa resolve to eliminate colonialism in the world. We've done this since India and Africa have begun to cooperate, right from 1960, when most of the countries in Africa seated here today became independent and became members of the United Nations. The UN adopted the famous declaration on the granting of independence to colonial countries and peoples, Resolution 1514 in 1960. And we were part of it. We used it as a Bible, so to say, in our foreign policy endeavors since we became independent. Because of Nigeria's commitment to ending colonialism, Nigeria was co-opted as a frontline state in the fight against apartheid and colonialism in Southern Africa. So with all these records, it baffles one to hear countries oppose the mere mentioning of ending colonialism in the world. It didn't say in Africa, it says the world. And I think India and Africa are united on this. I've had arguments about we're addressing is a political principle. We're not talking about political things here. But I want to recall, in this declaration we've talked about the UN reforms. The reforms of the UN are political. They're not about economic issues. The Security Council reform, which we're all unanimous about, is not on issues of economic development. It's not about economic cooperation between India and Africa. It is not. It's political. We have a lengthy paragraph on Palestine, which we are united about. Palestinian question is not economic, it's colonialism, and we agreed on that. So where is the problem here? Now, those who are opposed to this paragraph, have they given us an alternative? In a conference like this, when you don't agree with something, propose an alternative. Let them give us an alternative and we'll consider it. Are they going to say, let us promote colonialism? Let them give it to us, and we'll consider it. Because if you are not in favor of ending colonialism, you are in favor of promoting it. So let us have some one of them propose this to us and we consider it. But I think we have had enough of this. Nigeria stands for sustaining this paragraph. And we have no agreement on it, as we seem to be, because of a few vocal minority. Let us take it to our principles. Thank you very much.